Hello and welcome back to the harbour, a source of adventures, both old and new. We're sitting here on this little jetty, watching a dock worker hard at work, contemplating our latest successes and failures, and I found a waterfall in the background there. Now that would make a hell of a slide, wouldn't it? Launching yourself off there into the... yeah, let's not. Okay, so where are we at the moment? We have enough to take 19. I just finished Shan Part 2, took the sagas. Yeah, we have enough to take 19. I haven't taken it because the one I'm proposing to do now is a 16. I've tried to refocus our spells as much as possible with the group element in mind, as Purple's been adventuring on more than one occasion with more than one person, which is a fair deviation from the norm for me. And it's fair to say as well that all my characters are focused on, performing alone. So things like distant diversion and, that kind of stuff just never even comes into it because it's just me. But on the spell selection side, for the favoured soul, with the group in mind, I've brought quite a few new things to the table here. I used one of the, what's it called, Blood of Dragons, that can be taken as a reward from the Argonescent patron in the marketplace for completing a certain number of their quests. And I've added the following to our spell repertoire. We've got Magic Circle Against Evil, which is just protection from evil AoE, so that's nice. You already know about the Freedom of Movement Mass. Holy Aura is a mass spell as well. Aid Mass, it's just a few extra hit points and morale bonus to attack rolls. Spell Resistance Mass you knew about. I've also got some Mass Cure spells. The Mass Cure Serious is the one I plan to try to use as a top-up between fights. Or maybe it's just an excuse for people to come to me for a cuddle, I don't know. I was thinking I could, if I get the people close to me, I can hit 8 and 9, Prayer, and Cure Serious Mass, and that kind of takes care of most things for us. Speaking of spells, at 18, as I mentioned already, I was going to take the Enlarge feat, so I took that. That's allowing us, for those of you who don't know, to hit from twice the range on most of the spells, but the spells do cost more to cast that way. I think it's 10 points more, isn't it? Yes, so that one's got Quicken and Enlarge on, and now it's 35 instead of 15. Spell points have been an issue for me. We were running Shan Part 1. We did very well, actually. There was Mike, the melee cleric, Purple, the favoured soul that you know, and the bear was running as a similar build to mine, but a cleric. So an offensive casting cleric. And we were all running into trouble with spell point conservation, which I think you do when you ramp up the Reaper difficulty. I mean, those two are first lifers, and Purple isn't exactly a seasoned campaigner, and completing some of them on Reaper 4 I thought was good, a good show. We met our match when we tried to do the Just Business, the last one in the Shan Part 1. Ran out of spell points through lack of shrines and just couldn't complete the quest. But I had that. I did Shan 2 on my own. Did well enough, but at the end of the final one, the Reach for the Sky, again I had the spell point issue, because stupidly I forgot to use the shrine kind of in the middle, just before you touch the thing down below. And of course I didn't have the hireling, the fighter hireling that gives the DDO, so I had to fight my way back through all the forge wraiths, during which time I learned that they are, well, as a wraith, they're particularly susceptible to light damage, so the searing light did very well against them. But it used a lot of spell points, and I was left cheesing horribly the end fight, standing on the deck of the ship there, dragging the bosses round to me, and just picking them off one by one while on Echoes of Power. I should have gone and made a cup of tea or something. It was that painful. But I was, at that point, I was refusing to let it go and admit defeat. So yes, I am definitely leaning with this kind of thing happening towards the evergreen approach in Epic, because spell point management is clearly not my forte, and I prefer situations where I can just press the buttons and not worry too much about the spell point management. To that end, I've brought back the Comet Fall, so we've got all our metas on that. We can hit from twice the range. We should hit pretty hard with it. It should be decent against golems as well, because the golems are a nightmare with the fire and light magic. Obviously fire heals some of the golems. So this thing doing force damage is just about the only thing we've got, along with the blade barrier. The blade barrier was decent against the golems. I was kiting them through it in the Reach for the Sky quest, and that did pretty well. So yes, enhancements, I've had a slight reorganisation. So we've retaken this Comet Fall. There's a knockdown and some damage. It goes up to level 20. The damage isn't prodigious, but it should be. I mean, it's a relatively cheap SLA, and given that we're running into mana issues, I'm thinking we could maybe hit from distance with that. Maybe start off with Soundburst to get the helpless, and then follow up with that to get everything on the floor, and then possibly finish with the Holy Smite. Or maybe I should put the Firestorm in there instead, but that's already costing 35. And that's the level 9 spell we picked up, the Divine Wrath. I liked that there's a load of good stuff at level 9 for this build. The Implosion that we've been talking about in the comments. Mass Heal, which is just crazy good in a tight spot. Comet Fall, which is I guess the fire equivalent of Divine Wrath. And then this one here, doing light damage as well as healing allies. That looked too good to pass up, so I put that one straight in. But it is very expensive spell point wise. I've just, meta magic wise, unless it's an SLA, all I've been doing is quickening spells, nothing else. So I don't go thinking I've been running around with everything maximised and that's why I've been in trouble. I haven't. I think possibly I should have looked more into efficient maximise, efficient heighten, this kind of thing in these trees. I certainly will be doing when we go into Epic, and we'll probably drop things like the Sunbolt, which I guess will fall off in use once we hit the Epics. I think in conjunction with some of the Epic trees we could get the cost of some of these things down, but then again if we end up running Evergreen in the Primal, how much will mana management matter? Hopefully not too much. So for the moment at least I've tried to stem the bleed by including this spell-like ability in our rotation, and we're going to try and make heavy use of that. The fact it's on the Q key should tell its own story, because Q and E are my most used things. Um, should I? That's a max caster level of 10, isn't it? And this one I don't think has a max. Yeah, let's do that. We'll swap those two. I'll put the enlarge on there. So this is going to be, it's going to be a bit of a mess, I bet, because I should have given myself a quest to try this, and then I would have looked quite good. But this is going to be the first time with the enlarge meta, and I'm going to try something like leading with soundburst, then comic fall, and mopping up with the firestorm. That's what I'm going to try and do. And for some reason, it's saying only 45 now. It was saying something like 60 up there, wasn't it? Or was I? Oh, I was looking at the Divine Wrath. No, that might be okay. So if we can try and use those three, and you do get swarmed a few times, so we could make decent use of the blade barrier too. I've been learning to try and make better use of that. Like if you know there's a load of things behind a door, just place one there and then open the door, that kind of thing. So there's definitely something there. I mean, we have decent. Let's just take the opportunity to have a look where we're at. We have decent spell DCs because of the high-ish charisma. The saves are all right. The spell powers are reasonably good where it matters. Fire, force, light, and positive. And the crit chances on all those are okay. I mean, on fire, force, and light, that's more than respectable, I think, for this level. The spell power and crit chance. So, yeah, we should be taking advantage of the force. The force will be used by the comic fall and the blade barrier. Skills, just to show you where that's at before we go into the epic. So I've been focusing on heal, diplo, a few into jump because we don't have the jump spell this life. Spellcraft, obviously, to help the light and fire. And some UMD because as we are charisma based this time around, and that's boosting UMD enough that we can use some nice scrolls here. Although that one, favoured soul, has no fail from 14, so that's not an issue, but the teleport thing is nice to be able to use. Right, what else have I got? I've got some scratchy notes here. I already mentioned that we'd died through lack of spell points in the last of Shan 1. Oh yeah, one of you very kindly mentioned that our quests seemed less disorganised than the typical pug group. Given how disorganised my approach generally is when there's anything approaching a group, because I just don't know what to do half the time, because I'm so used to having done on my own. I'll take that as a compliment. Although maybe it's just a reflection that the average group just they sort of run as 6 individuals rather than, you know, focusing on the group mates. I don't know. I do at least try to hold and with this build to hold and heal around the, you know, the whoever the focal point is. So in our case it's Mike, the melee cleric, and if he's blocking a door up and attracting everything around him, the first thing I'll try and do is send a colour spray or a sound burst in there to stop him taking the damage from the stuff around him, and then follow up with the more damaging stuff. So what I need to do is not drag things around before he can get to them, because then it just sort of descends into general chaos. Oh yeah, another note I made in the what's it called, the final one of Shan 1, is it just business? That's it. We ran into an unexpected problem with the, you know, the saw sleds and the enemies being off the ground. Stuff like Holy Smite and Firestorm, just to name two. If your opponent is off the ground, they're very difficult to hit with these kinds of things, and we wasted a ton of spell points that way. What did I do in the end? I was doing greater colour spray and then the flame jet thing, the ash from the tiefling tree, and that was doing pretty well. But my big spells, when things were off the ground, it was a real problem. So I was trying my best to stay on the ground myself where possible, and encourage things to follow me down there, make it a bit easier. Blade barrier we've already mentioned. Comet fall we mentioned, and the level 9 spell we mentioned. Okay. Now I have a degree of trepidation with this because I've just swapped several keys around, and yeah, I need to remember the strategy now. Is hopefully going to be sound burst and then QE, and we're looking to do this from extreme distance before stuff's even noticed us and moved. So let's see how successful we are or not. The quest I've chosen is not here. Oh, well done. That's a good start. We're about to go into the what's it called? The waterworks. The quest I've chosen is the second part of the Lords of Dust, the Servants of the Overlord. Thought that would give us a good little test. Now there are quite a few shrines in this one, so that shouldn't be an issue, the spell points. I haven't enlarged everything. I've just gone with the ones I think we'll use the most, which is the Soundburst, the Comet Fall and the Firestorm. I'm hoping we can clean up most distant packs with that and not have to do too much in the way of follow-up. If we need to follow up, we've got Holy Smite and this new Divine Wrath. I'm going to try not to do that too heavily, firstly because I don't have any colleagues to heal. This would be great for when Mike's meleeing away surrounded by a crowd of things. Throw that down to both healing and hurt them. That's just a win-win. But at the moment it's excessive cost, I think. Okay. First mistake. This one has quite a bit of blah blah before it starts, so I should have gone and started that before doing all the buffs, but never mind. I could do a blade barrier here because I think there's some spiders coming out there. See, that's pretty effective. It's not maximised or anything. Well, that was nice. That was just the scorch on its own. So that's a nice saving of mana. I forgot the spider. Spiders really don't like the fire, do they? Note to self for that, because I think we've got some more coming. Now we've got quite a few fire things in here, so yeah, the maybe I should swap those two round, because the Firestorm I don't think is going to be particularly helpful unless we debuff first. That's the Comet Fall. Oh, that was nice. Okay, right. So let's make big use of that. Save some spell points. So Soundburst, Comet Fall. And I'm gonna try and swap these two over so we don't run into immunities and stuff. And we're looking to hit from as far away as we can. Now then, let's just test that. I'm not going to cast anything else. Let's see how we can... It's not maximised. I say that's pretty good. Now we've got problems, haven't we? There's a load of them down there. Okay, so Soundburst, Comet Fall, Holy Smite, and then whatever's left can have the fire stuff. Oh god, I cast it on top of myself. They did get some down there, didn't they? But that wasn't, no. So what went wrong there? Is it because one came moving forward? Most of them died down there. Now we've got a little top up thing, cure moderate there for in between fights. We've got another chance to put the record straight here because I think almost immediately there's another big group. So let's try not to do that again. Or shall I do something different this time? Let's try with the blade barrier. Try and encourage them to come and visit us here. Now I'm going to say that was pretty good. Yeah. Why? There's always one that just declines the invitation.
The only way forward is down into Kyber's depths.
Okay, do we need the shrine? No. And that's non-maximised, that's just quickened, so that's very nice. Let's do another one. Okay. Let's take the enlarge off that one to save some points. So the only... oh, let's not enlarge that either. The only thing that's enlarged is that and this. Although we're not liable to be using that. No, let's take that off. I'm liking this blade barrier strategy for saving mana, but it's not at all the strategy I'd kind of set out to do. Now I've got to bear in mind we've got some fire things, but Holy Smite and Comet Fall should do alright against those. Just put some fire protection on in case they get nasty. Let's do a thing here and try and tempt them in. Come on then. Sneaky little heal there. Now I tell you what, those blade barriers, all we have to do is just run away now. I haven't even attacked anything. I think they'll just die on their own accord. That was pretty handy, and it was a nice alternative to what I normally would do, which is throw myself in here, get set upon by all of them, and most likely die. So yeah, liked that.
The passageway is eerily quiet.
Now these Hezro things always pose me problems. Go for the double. We got it. Beautiful. Yes. So yes, my sort of vision for this build going into Epic would be to use the enlarged sound burst and hit before they can start moving and scattering, and then follow up with the damaging attacks. Oh, we've got problems here. Comet Fall, go on. Did it work? Or something did. Okay. Top up. I was reminded by the bear in the last quest that this rallying cry is an AoE as well. So if you have somebody who's struggling pace-wise, as Annie is, because she doesn't have a speed item on, I don't think, or at least not a very good one, that was helpful to try and keep her in touch with the rest of the group. Now where are we at spell point wise? I think we're doing okay. Ah, this is Spider Country, isn't it? And if I remember right, the spiders are not fans of these at all, are they? Wow, look at that, beautiful. And how much does that cost? That's oh, it is fairly expensive, the spell, isn't it? 45 quickened. That was pretty decent. Only one got away. Oh, where did he come from? The guy behind me. I don't like that. Soon got rid of him. Now that's one instance where I would have liked the enlarge on the sound burst. I'm going to put it back because I think we can try it here. Oh, that's tasty. Annihilated them before they could start doing anything to us, so that was good. Oh, me and my crappy jump skill. What jump skill do we actually have? 25, so with the boost from the potion, 35. And I've actually added 12 points. I think it's because my strength is so bad, and jump is a strength skill, isn't it? How much strength do we have? Oh, yeah, it's just 16. What do we think here? Colour spray, scorch, and comet fall, perhaps? Not good enough. Oh, I should have gone for the 2 there, didn't... Can we colour spray you as well?
A drow magic barrier bars entry into a massive
Okay, can we use... Ah, yes we can. Oh, well remembered, because this is quite an end fight, isn't it? I wouldn't want to go in there and have a worry about mana. I could possibly have got finished up without. In fact, if I'd been watching carefully and leaning on the SLAs, I'm sure I could, but it's nice not to have to worry too much about it when you know there's plenty coming up. And this again with stuff running about all over the place, especially spiders, and there's loads of those. I can see the blade barrier getting some good use here again. So the first thing here, we're going to have to turn around and nobble those things over there, aren't we? That's nice, that's a good start. Okay, blade barrier. Oh, must have been on cooldown. That wasn't good. Can we... Oh no, we'll just stick to this. Another Plague Reaper. Holy Smite still going well against the Reapers. We just top up in the middle. Oh no. Get another barrier down. I think we can afford a proper heal, can't we? I'm pretty sure the stun, the sound burst, wouldn't work on the spiders. The colour spray, the blinding element of it would work. And did it actually work? Maybe it did. I might have to stand corrected there. Get the blades up again. Oh, 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 that's bad. That's so bad. Could be a death. I think there's a Reaper in the middle of all that. Oh, heal again, can we? Don't forget the number 7. Number 7 is the one-click heal from the unyielding sovereignty thing. Huge lag there, but yes, it seems we can stun the spiders. Now those we can probably just go over there and... Now, can I get some dodge bonus on here? Let's focus on the caster first, if we can. Throw everything at it. Has it gone? I was just looking at my keys. What's not on cooldown? Throwing everything in. Firestorm, Divine Wrath, Flame Strike, you name it, it was going in. Happy days. So I would have managed with about 100 mana to spare, I think, is the answer to the earlier question. And the answer to the second question, no, absolutely not. I am not going on to do the Spinner of Shadows. It's just that quest. I'll finish up using Wayloon, I think.
Something is waiting in the lowest depths of
So, we didn't really get a chance to evaluate the enlarge, did we? Because too often we were at close quarters. So that'll have to wait for the epic where we'll run with it perma. Well, I'm hoping in epic we'll just run with every meta on, whack the evergreen on, and just have a great deal of fun. That's my thinking, because otherwise we're going to have to keep an eye on the mana and or rejig all the enhancements. We might have to go rejig the enhancements anyway. I'm thinking we probably won't get too much use out of the Sunbolt SLA, so we can probably swap that for a regular Sunbolt spell, because that does get used still. We'll have the Searing Light spell-like ability, won't we, from the capstone here, which we can throw all the metas on. Which one is it? Will be Charisma, that one, yeah. That's probably the only core I think's any good with this. This one is too conditional on losing health for good things happening. I mean, yes, I did lose quite some chunks in the end fight of that one, but I never like things that depend on you losing health, unless it's the Radiant Force Field thing in the Eldritch Knight tree that we had last life, that when you go below 50% that thing activates. That's nice, because I invariably forget to cast a spell when I'm in trouble, so it's nice just to have it there. But no, this is, I mean, 1 spell DC and 20 lightning alignment power isn't terrible, but as far as I'm concerned, this one's the only one really worth having. A copy of the Searing Light as an SLA, 4 charisma, universal spell power, 2 DCs, very nice. So look forward to having that. And in the meantime, I'll be finishing up the Wayloon chain. Hopefully we won't do too badly in there. It's got kind of a dark, shadowy, well, anything shadow-wise is going to get melted, isn't it? Between the light and the fire. So, yeah, hoping for a successful run through there. And we will see you all in the epics. Mike is already there, so he's going to be joining Purple on his epic adventures, so I'd better learn to keep him alive. And I think we're going to have Annie for company as well. I don't know whether she's going to be using her Warlock. She's a choice of 2 from the hardcore league. There's a Warlock that's already level 20, I think, or there is the Cleric, which is a similar build to mine, which is level 18, I think, at the moment. In fact, it might be, if we end up recording any of it, it might be better with the Warlock, might it, to show some different stuff off. I've held off recording a group one so far, simply because sometimes I like to stop and explain something, or just wander along and mention what I'm doing, and if it's sort of caught in the middle of a group thing, it's even less clear than when it's just me what's happened. So that's the reason so far I haven't done that. Right, I think that's more than enough waffle. Hope you're all doing well, and I will speak to you all in the next one. Thanks very much for looking. Take care.